Alright, when I say apple, what do you think of? Do you think of an apple, the fruit, or do you think of Apple, the computer products? Well, today we're going to be talking about the computer products. So, as you know, Apple is very, very famous. They run a lot of products like the iPad, like the iPhone. You almost see them everywhere on a daily basis, and it's all the buzz that you hear about. So as you know, Steve Jobs was the creator of the company, along with Steve Wozniak. They established it in about 1977, and look at the company now. It's worth about $35 billion. We're not talking about million, we're talking about billion. They didn't get there overnight, though. A lot of challenges that they had to overcome, a lot of external factors that kind of made them prove themselves. Well, I'm going to kind of be talking about that today, and some of the external factors that I'm going to be talking about is excessive competition, especially in a growing field with the technology industry that they're in. It's constantly growing, it's constantly competitive, and what are some of the things that they've had to do to overcome that? Along with government regulation. With anything like that, there's a lot of patents involved, there's a lot of lawsuits involved, and we'll kind of go over some of those as well. And the last thing would have to be malice and rumor. As when a company's that big, people are going to talk. Things are going to change, and a lot of that can affect the daily business. Some of that is out of their control and is considered an external factor. So the first one that we're going to be talking about is excessive competition. So when you think of Apple, you think of the iPhone. You think of Macintosh computers. Well, when it comes to computers, everyone knows there's Microsoft, and that you see them at the computers at school, you see them at the computers at home. It's constantly advertised. So how is Apple supposed to compete with them? It's an ongoing process that never ends. Right now, the only thing that iPhones or iPads or Apple products had a step ahead of Microsoft was tablets. With tablets, they've grown a lot, and Microsoft has had to step up their game, I'm not going to lie, and it kind of makes it more choices for us consumers as well. But Apple also needs to step up their game even more with more people coming out with more products. It's a constant battle that doesn't ever stop. In the phone industry, that's also growing as well. You see it everywhere, especially with the smartphones in our day and age. 10 years ago this wasn't an issue, but now in the modern day it is. They're constantly coming out with new products, they're constantly coming up with new updates. It's a constant battle that never ends. So in the phone industry, Apple products and iPhones are one of the biggest competitors, the biggest fields. But what they don't know is about Samsung. Samsung is one of the biggest competitors that are neck and neck with Apple. Apple will come out with a new 5 generation, and Samsung will come out with a Galaxy. And they've been neck and neck. At first, iPhone stomped all the competition, but as more companies catch on, it's something that's a constant battle and needs to be maintained. As we talk more about Samsung, as you know, there are patents that are involved in the technology industry, whether that's through something simple like a calendar. You'd be surprised, Apple has a patent for it. They want to guarantee that no one else is going to come up with that, and that's their idea, and nobody can steal it. Well, a couple years ago, Apple claimed that Samsung copied some of their designs. So, of course, the first step was try to figure it out between the two companies. But, of course, it couldn't be resolved. So it turned into lawsuits. Those lawsuits are coming up to $25 billion between the two companies. Samsung is going back and forth saying that they started their designs before Apple. And once again, it's a constant battle. The bad thing about this is when it comes to lawsuits like this, Apple is saying that if they win, that they're banning Samsung from selling any of their products in the United States. So this isn't just a matter of money. This isn't just a matter of an idea. This is a matter of destroying a company pretty much. And, Apple is constantly going through this. So the last idea that I was going to talk about was malice and rumor. So a lot of you do know Steve Jobs. He is the inventor of the Apple company. He also did a lot of stuff with Pixar as well. So he is definitely an inventor. He definitely knows what he's doing. Definitely has an eye for the business, and is huge. Everyone's heard about him. Well, Steve Jobs kind of had to take a step down due to an illness. In a couple years, he ended up passing away. But that wasn't without handing it down to Tim Cook. And that's a big shoes to fill, going from Steve Jobs, the inventor of Apple, who created a $52 billion company. How can you replace somebody like that? He's irreplaceable. Um, and especially to consumers, who knows what, rumors start coming up about what are the Apple products going to look like from now on. You know, what are what do we expect from the new CEO? Um, well, Tim Cook has definitely taken that leadership role. He's definitely proved himself, and Apple has continued to come out with new ideas and new innovations and new updates, and it's constant, it's consistent. So even though Steve Jobs did pass away, and he was the reason why Apple is so successful that it is today, um, Tim Cook is continuing to grow the company, and it's still very, very, very successful. Um, so to wrap this all up, anytime you're in the business industry, in order to create a successful business, there's a lot of things that come into play. And you constantly have to overcome obstacles, whether that's something little or something big. Either way, you have to overcome that, and you have to become stronger for it. Someone once told me, a smooth sail is never made a skillful sailor. So the point is behind that is that even if you have smooth sails and you never have to overcome any obstacles, you're not really challenged, you're not really overcoming anything, and it shows weakness, for example. But if you have rough seas and you can overcome that, that says more about a person than anything. Apple's continuing to grow. They've had to come a lot more obstacles, whether that's through lawsuits, whether that's through changing in, the higher industry. They've overcome it, and they're continuing to grow, and they're continuing to compete in their field. So this is just a little preview on what Apple has had to overcome, and the reason why one of their businesses is as successful as it is today. So thank you for listening, and have a good one.